I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Come here. You as the magical practitioner are the most important ingredient or component of any of your spells and rituals. Your mindset, your worldview, your belief system. And it's through this that your reality can become transformed and that you yourself can become transformed. In this video, I'm going to talk to you guys all about chaos magic and why I love it so much, not only as a reality hacking tool, but as a tool to really work with and help to imprint changes upon the self. Hello again, everybody. My name is Mandy M. If you are new here, I am an author. I've written Witchcraft Therapy, Happy Witch, Feral Self-Care, Shadow Work for Hot Messes, and my newest deck, Witchcraft Therapy Oracle. Isn't it beautiful, you guys? You can see it in the background there. But one of the most common questions that I get as a psycho-spiritual author and as a practicing witch is, what is chaos magic? And so I'm going to try within my means to answer that in this video. Now, it's important to note that chaos magic, I'm going to be talking about it sort of like a paradigm or framework, but it's very important to note that by its very nature, it's something that shouldn't be super easily definable, and like one person's definition wouldn't necessarily fit for all people, because this is a system of magic that is very person-centered. So this is a system of magic that where really the practitioner is sort of the ground zero for all the possibilities that can happen, all of the change that can happen, and for the way that your chaos magic practice will come together and look in an objective way. So what I am trying to say here is that this is a highly individualized and highly unique system that really is going to look different depending on the unique practitioner. That being said, I'm going to talk about 5 or so key principles just to try and give you a sense of the sorts of things that are and are not chaos magic. Now, I will say for myself, in my personal experience, practicing chaos magic has been one of the most powerful things that I have found for making change in my own life and in my own self. It's been really wonderful for things like self-confidence, really wonderful for things like reality hacking, so what you think is true and possible for you. And it's also something that really does not require a lot of fancy setup. It doesn't require a lot of, strict rules. You have to do it XYZ way. So for me, chaos magic has always been something that just made the most sense. I am a person who really for such a long time identified as being very deeply skeptical. And so the idea of any sort of tradition or framework having, one set of rules or one set of approaches that would have to work for everybody, that just never made any objective sense to me. Like I can never wrap my brain around that one person can decide that the rules are XYZ and that has to somehow work for everybody. That just goes against everything I know about human psychology and everything I know about humans in general. So rewinding a little bit, chaos magic was really born in the 70s as a reaction to dogma, to lots of rules, to lots of approaches that were very rigid, like you have to do it XYZ way. Chaos magic came out and really was an attempt to sort of strip away all the dogma, all the you have to do it this way rules, etc., and see actually what was left, what was remaining in order for magic to occur and magic to exist. So in this way, belief being a tool is one of the core principles of chaos magic. Again, Chaos magic is very hard to define because it's kind of meant to be undefinable, but one of the number one things that all chaos magic approaches, whether it's this guy or this person or this woman or this, that, you know, all of that have in common is that the belief is a tool. So the beliefs of a practitioner, what do you think is true? What do you think is possible for you? What do you think is off limits? Like, what are the things that you feel will never happen for you? Your deep limitations. So in this way, using the practitioner's belief as a tool, it really sets a stage that is very unique, very individualized, and really kind of provides a little bit of a roadmap for the different sort of mindset shifts that a practitioner should probably be trying to address before they try and kind of make any magic happen. Part of why I like this is because I am a major psychology nerd. I have a BA in psychology, and my prior career was in community inclusion for developmentally disabled adults. So I've actually seen firsthand the power of the human mind, the power of human psychology. And so for me, the idea that the practitioner's beliefs about the world are key, that just makes so much inherent sense to me. For example, if you were in a situation where you wanted to manifest something, but your subconscious mind is really wrestling against that because it believes it wouldn't happen, you will find a really difficult time to manifest this thing because there's not a psychic openness to it. And a lot of times when magic doesn't work out or your spells don't work, it's because there is some sort of battle going on in the realm of your belief system, in the realm of your mindset and worldview. So chaos magic really kind of tasks us with trying to figure out where our mindset, worldview, and beliefs are as a starting point, and then like, what can we do to kind of make that a more stable foundation for practicing magic? Now, the interesting thing about belief as a tool is that it kind of means that you can play around with this a little bit. So say there's something that you don't actually believe, you know, say you're doing confidence work and you're really struggling with this idea of like, I am confident. You're like, I don't even, like, that just feels so out of reach for me. Belief as a tool in the chaos magic paradigm means that you are able to sometimes try on conflicting beliefs in order to help you with your working. And I know that that sounds kind of crazy, but it's actually something that is very fun, very liberating, and very playful. There is a saying that you've probably seen in relation to chaos magic, which is nothing is true, everything is permitted. And I think that just really sums it up very well, just right there. So number 2 is creative freedom. I love the creative freedom of chaos magic because if somebody gives me like an itemized list of things to do and I'm not personally connecting to it, I'm not going to be able to get in the state I need to be in order to make that stuff work, right? Like it just makes sense that way. So when you look at your spiritual work, and I talk about this a lot, so some of you might be sick of it, but if you look at your spiritual work as your spiritual playground, right? Your practice is a place where you can experiment, where you can grow, where you can try on different identities, where you can try different elements of a spell that like maybe wouldn't make sense to other people, but you feel deeply called to do it. I fuck heavy with that because to me, I think that is how that playfulness, that lighthearted energy, that is how we are going to get the results that we are looking for. Now, part of this is the ability to create spell work out of kind of things that you might not expect, right? So things like sigils, and I do have a couple of shorts about how to do sigils if you want to check those out, but things like sigils, things like using your art, using writing, using hypersigils, journaling, using all of these different creative ways to try and manifest a new state of being or a new state of reality is something that is so fun, so empowering, and so motivating. The third key principle of chaos magic is experimentation and really getting practical about what you're doing. So I see people make this mistake sometimes where they're kind of conflating the idea of chaos magic, like the approach to magic. They're conflating that with being a chaotic witch. So people will be like, I'm a chaos witch because I forgot when the last full moon was, or I'm a chaos witch because I didn't have lavender, so I used pine cones, or like whatever. And now those things can actually be a part of your chaos magic practice if that's how you wish it to be. But there is a very big difference from chaos magic, the approach, and just being chaotic in your practice, although they definitely can coexist. Ask me how I know. And so when it comes to chaos magic as an approach, it actually does require you to keep records. It requires you to pay attention of what's working and what doesn't. So it does require a level of technicality that just simply flying by the seat of your pants with your rituals doesn't necessarily have. So the fourth key thing is results over dogma. So a lot of traditions are very interested in dogma. Like, this is your prescribed way to do things. This is how you do them. You got to do them this way. If you forget a step, you can't do that. I am so anti-outsourcing your authority. Like, it's okay to get learning and to be inspired by other things. I do get that. But again, I found in my own spiritual path, it wasn't until I started realizing that if I leaned into my own impulses, my own desires, the way I felt called to do things intuitively, that is when things really opened up for me personally. And so in that sense, chaos magic can be so empowering, but you do have to pay keen attention to the results. Because if you are not getting the results that you want, you have to try something different. You have to experiment a little bit more. So although chaos magic is kind of like anti-dogma and it doesn't really play into a lot of dogmatic approaches, a lot of prescriptive rules, you might find in your own practice that there are a set of prescriptive rules. There is a way, an established fundamental way that you do things that will work. And honestly, when it comes to chaos magic, use it when it works. If it doesn't work anymore, use something else, try something different. Can you see why I love this so much? Quick interruption. I just wanted to let you know that there is a link in the description down below to grab our totally free Feral Self-Care Starter Pack. This includes a guided meditation and 3 quickie practices along with some PDFs to help make it even more easy and more actionable for you. So make sure to grab that down below. Now, the last thing is reality as malleable. So with chaos magic, typically what happens is practitioner tries to get into a state, an altered state of consciousness, right? So we're trying to get into a sort of liminal mindset, or a state of gnosis, it's sometimes called, where you can get into almost like a trance-like state, a different state of consciousness where you can then imprint your will, your desires upon yourself and upon the outer reality. This requires a presupposition that reality is malleable. And as somebody who has experienced the fact that reality can be extremely malleable, this is very powerful. This is very powerful for your mental health, and this is very powerful for really leaning into your identity and like the things you believe are true and possible. After all, this is one of the reasons why we engage in spirituality, why we engage in magic, why we engage in witchcraft, is because there is this belief, you know, if something happens to us, are we going to just roll over and take it and be like, well, yeah, that sucks? Absolutely fucking not. You're a witch. Get the fuck up and start to figure out, like, how can I work with this? What is the next best thing? Like, how can I wind up somewhere a little bit different, a little more empowered, so that I can grow and so that I can really open up to unlimited possibilities beyond my own bullshit. So with chaos magic, even opening up to the idea that reality can be hackable or malleable is something that can be very empowering, something that can really help you look at the world with a fresh pair of eyes, looking at things in a new way. Now, when it comes to practicing chaos magic, I highly recommend starting with the book 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐿 and Psychonaut by Peter Carroll. It is such an amazing piece of work. It really describes things so perfectly. I highly, highly recommend it. I will put a link to that book below. But I would recommend that you, as a practitioner, start digging into your worldview and belief systems. Like, what do you think is true and possible? What do you think chaos magic is? What are your your motivations for wanting to practice magic? Like, what are the changes you want to see either in your life, in the world, or within yourself, right? I use chaos magic a lot as like a psychology kind of focused witch. I use chaos magic a lot for shifting internal states. To me, it just feels natural. And I love that it incorporates elements of, you know, you can play pretend, you can try new belief systems on, you can kind of open up to different visions of the ways things could be. I'm thinking of making more videos here on chaos magic. If you guys are interested, I'm going to put some links below to my videos on sigil making, but you let me know. Do you have any questions about chaos magic? What sort of questions would you have? Do you want to hear more about my own practice? Why don't you tell me about yours in the comments below? But if you have any of that feedback, feel free to drop it below so that we can really kind of dig into this together, you guys. It can be very lonely to be on the magical path, and particularly when you're practicing chaos magic, which is very, you know, individual and very uniquely focused towards you, it can be really fun to kind of like trade stories and trade results with other people while still keeping your autonomy in your practice. And if you're new here, feel free to like and subscribe to my channel for all things magic, mindset, and mystery.